Welcome to the shop. My name is Brad and this is Boe Woodcraft. Today we're going to build something festive for the holiday season. So let's get over here to the miter saw and get started. So today I'm going to take these two fence pickets and I'm going to show you how to turn those into this super cute little wintertime planter. I put poinsettias in mine, set them out on the porch, but you can put whatever you want. A little Christmas tree, some flowers, Christmas cactus. It is entirely up to you what you make this look like. So let's get this started. Here's the cut list. Grab a screenshot of that or whatever you need to do to get those measurements. But I'm going to show you how to cut them out of this cedar to get all of the parts that you need for this little planter out of $6 worth of cedar wood. So the front of this guy and the back of this guy, each of those boards are 10 inches. So I'm going to cut one at 10. Then I'm going to cut one at 20 and 1/8. And then I'm going to come down here and cut another one at 30 1/4. Okay. Now, also, the legs on this guy are 10 inches. So I'm going to go one more 40 3/8. And that's going to give me a front, a back, the part we're going to split in half, and a set of legs. Okay. So now I'm actually going to need one more, right? 50 1/2. And that's going to be cut also for the legs. And whatever's left over out of this one, we're going to use for some snowflake parts. Okay, now let's get those marked and cut those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces at 10 inches. So that's 5 of those. Now I need to cut my 8-inch pieces, and let's see how many of those I'm going to need. So on the sides, you're going to see the 8-inch pieces. There's one on this side, one on this side, and also we're going to split that one in half. And then on the inside, that's an 8-inch piece, and then that's another one. So let's count those out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 8-inch pieces as well. Okay, I need to cut a piece that I'm going to split into parts for my trim around the top. Okay, and that, I'm going to cut that at 12 inches just so I have enough. And that'll be the trim for the top. So now we're going to go over to the table saw and make all of our rips for the planter, and then we'll come back and we'll build the star separately. Okay, so I'm going to set my saw to rip at 1 5/8 inches, and I'm going to rip 4 of those at 1 5/8 inches, and then we're going to rip 4 more at 1 1/8 inches, and that's going to give me my legs. So let's get that going. All right, so we got all our pieces cut. Now we're just going to get them nailed together. Before I do that though, I want to take my nail gun and use a little bit of pneumatic tool oil and just a couple of drops in there. And if you do this every day, your equipment's going to last a lot longer. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the legs. So what I do is I take the small part and the big part. So there's 2 pieces to each leg, and they go in an L shape like this. And we just nail that together with some tight bond, and then we're going to set those aside, and we're going to build all 4 legs before we go any further. So let's get that going. And so what I do is I take a little tight bond 3, because it's going to possibly be outside and it might get watered. And then we stack these together. And then I just put a nail in each end and make sure they're all nice matched up. And the one right in the middle. All right, and that's 1. We'll do that 3 more times. All right, I just want to clean the glue off of the paper towel or whatever and set those aside for a minute. Okay, so now that we have our legs built, we're going to take the 2 10-inch pieces that we cut earlier, and we're going to put some glue in here. So you want to put a bead of glue along the wide part. Remember, we have a wide board and a short board, right? So the wide board, you want to lay that down on the table like this, and you want to put glue right along this side, okay? So we're going to do that, and then we're going to take one of our 10-inch pieces, and I'm going to pop that in here and make sure it's very flush at the top. All right, and I'll hold that down, and I'm going to give it 3 nails on each side. And then I'm going to take one of those pieces that we ripped in half, and I'm going to put that right at the bottom, right here. And then I'm going to give that 2 nails. While you're ripping these pieces down, you're going to end up with a couple of little pieces like this, and you want to hold on to those because that's going to end up going right here, and you're going to overlap those legs by about 1/4 inch. You just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to take that to the miter saw, and we're just going to cut that line. All right. And we're going to put a little bit of glue right along that bottom. Whoa, got away from me. And then you want to make sure you put it the width of the board here so that you have plenty to glue your bottom to, because this is the support for your bottom piece. And once again, wipe off the glue. So that is one of either the front or the back, doesn't matter. So I'm going to set this one to the side and build the next one, and then we'll get back to putting the sides in. So there's the front and the back. Now we're going to lay it on its side. We're going to put some glue in. Down both sides of that little 1 1/8" piece. Take this little 8" piece, we're going to slide that right in there. And then this little guy can just slip right in there like that as well. Make sure we're flush to the top. Now, if your boards curve a little bit, just kind of do your best to center them up. It's rough cut cedar, it likes to move. So sometimes these boards come in and they're cupped, and that's what I'm dealing with here. Missed. And then we'll flip this over, do the same thing on the other side. So I need an 8" and the little cutoff guy. And pop all those together, square them up, and nail them in. Oh, it helps if you have nails in your gun. There we go. Okay, so there's our little box. Now we just got to put a bottom in it. We're going to take these. We're going to put some glue across there. And I'm going to take one of these and slide it in here. Now, I can't get my nail gun in the inside. So what I'm going to do is just nail through the bottom. But when you do that, you want to make sure that your hand is away from the side where those nails are going. Otherwise, you're going to put a Band-Aid on your thumb and it's going to suck. Okay. Now, I've got one more 8" piece, and I need to mark that for width. So if you can see that right there, I'm going to mark the width of that. And I'm going to take it over to the table saw. I'm going to rip that down. Okay, so I'm going to mark that right along there. I'm going to cut this line right here. All right, so this is our last bottom piece. That's just going to drop right in here. All right, so now if that's a little bit tight, I'm just going to grab a hammer and use the handle part and tap that into place. So that should look like this. Okay, and once again, we're going to need to nail that from the bottom. So one there, one there, one there, one there. All right, there's our basic box. Now we just need to trim out the top, and the box part is done, and then we can get to our beautiful snowflake. So I'm going to cut them all at once with a 45, and then that will just save me some time. Cut that 45. So I'm going to line that up, and I'm just going to mark that, and then I'll cut the 45 this way. Okay, and that, now if you wanted to just stop right there, you've got a super cute little planter. I sell these for $15 and people love them. I also put a trellis on these, and just a little 40-inch trellis that comes up to about here. And those I'm selling for $45, And in the springtime, people just eat those up. They love that. But we're making something for Christmas. We're making a holiday festive planter here. So let's get on with the snowflake. All right, so my camera decided to die. So what I've done is I went and ripped 3 of these pieces at 1.25 inches. Now this is the leftover of the second picket. So there's 3 of these at 1.25 inches, and then there's 2 of these that are just under, what is it? Just over 1/2 inch. So just barely over 1/2 inch. And these are going to be the little wings that go on the snowflake. We're going to jump over to the miter saw. We're going to cut some of these wings. We're going to cut some diamonds, and hopefully I've got enough, which I'm pretty sure I do, to get all of our pieces cut out of these 5 sticks to make a snowflake. So let's get over to the miter saw. All right, first thing I need to do is set my miter saw back to 0. All right, and now we're going to cut 3 pieces. 3. 1, 2, 3 at 12 inches. So let's get those cuts made. 1, 2. All right, so those are going to be nailed together like this, and that is the base for your snowflake. Now I have 2 pieces I got to cut a bunch of diamonds out of, so hopefully I have enough to do it. So you're going to come over to your miter saw, and you're going to want to take a small ruler, and you're going to come right up to where your blade is at. Okay. Now I've got a 0 cut or a 0 clearance piece of tape on mine, and I'm going to mark 2.5 inches right to where that kerf is at, and that I'm going to mark with that right there. I got a bunch of other marks on here from other projects, so I'm going to erase those so I know that this mark. Okay. Now, if you don't feel comfortable making a cut like this, you know, maybe just grab another picket and try that with some longer pieces. But I'm okay with it because I ain't scared. No, I've been doing this a long time, so I'm not really that afraid. I kind of know where the blade is. I make sure I have my safety margins, make sure I use push sticks. But make sure you're safe. If you're not comfortable, don't do it. All right, now we got 12 of these. Cedar was killing me, I had to put my mask back on. Now we got the dust collector going because I was dying. We're gonna go ahead and cut these. We're gonna put a 45 on all of these, and then we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna cut little strips. All right, you want your measurement on that to be 2 7/8, and that's gonna be long point to short point. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and just lay that out on my saw again, and then I'll have that just a repeatable cut, right? So I marked that on my saw, so now every time I'm just gonna slide over to that. Okay, so all the pieces are cut, and now what we're gonna do is we're going to lay this out in batches. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Each one of these is going to get 2 diamonds. The top of the bottom. And then each one is going to get 2 of these little points, or 2 of these little arrow things, whatever you want to call that. So we're just going to go ahead and get all of these glued together. So I'm going to glue them and shoot them with a nail, and then that'll be that. So I'm going to put the diamonds on first. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue at the top, a little bit at the bottom. Line the sides of the diamond up with the end of the board and try to get it as straight as possible. Oh, don't shoot a nail on your finger. All right, now we're going to put the little points on here, or the little wings, if you want to call them that. And I'm going to line those up right with the tip of the diamond, like that. There's one part. Okay, there you go. We got 3 of those. Now, we just need to make them into a snowflake, right? So what I'm going to do is take the bottom 2, I'm going to call those the bottom 2, and put them at about that angle, kind of make it look even. Nail that. The same thing right here. Split that difference. Okay. Now, the last thing we need to do is the center of the snowflake, which is going to be the last of these diamonds. So you got 6 diamonds, and you're going to go right in between each one of these branches with a diamond. So you're barely going to have any stuck on the tip there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a fair amount of glue on mine, and then we're going to get these lined up to the center. And yeah, they might crack a little bit like that one just did, but as long as it holds long enough for the glue to dry, you should be in good shape. Okay, I'll put a little more glue out here. And we'll line these up. There. And there. There. Voila! You got yourself a beautiful snowflake. So it's 12 diamonds, 12 wing parts, and 3 1¼ by 12" sticks. Now, what I'm going to do is add it to the front of my planter. So I kind of want to see where it's going to look good and not touch the ground. Be square, which is going to be about right there. So I'll go ahead and put a dab of glue there, a dab of glue there, set it on, eyeball it for center because this is rustic. One on that side, one on that side. There you have it, a beautiful little snowflake planter that you can add a poinsettia to and set out on your front porch or sell on Facebook Marketplace or your Etsy store, however you want to do it. Give them away as gifts. I don't care. All right, that wraps it up for this week. My name is Brad. Thanks for joining me. And don't forget, hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up, hit the bell, and don't forget to put that comment in the comment box. And as always, get out in your shop, go make something cool.